Bitcoin amigo in the house. Well, on the beach, really. On a beach in El Salvador, sitting around the campfire. The Bitcoin amigos party while the price climbs higher. That you save today, become freedom tomorrow. Bitcoin is the way, prosperity will follow. Jerry, Jor, and Chris give a toast to all amigos worldwide. Hard work is paying off, though we're keeping our laser eyes. That you save today, become freedom tomorrow. Bitcoin is the way, prosperity will follow. On a beach in El Salvador, sitting around a campfire. The Bitcoin amigos party while the price climbs higher. Jerry, Jor, and Chris give a toast to all amigos worldwide. Hard work is paying off, though we're keeping our laser eyes. That you save today, become freedom tomorrow. Bitcoin is the way, prosperity will follow. That you save today, become freedom tomorrow. Bitcoin is the way, prosperity will follow. On a beach in El Salvador, sitting around a campfire. The Bitcoin amigos party while the price climbs higher. Jerry, Jor, and Chris give a toast to all amigos worldwide. Hard work is paying off, though we're keeping our laser eyes. That you save today, become freedom tomorrow. Bitcoin is the way, prosperity will follow. That you save today, become freedom tomorrow. Bitcoin is the way, prosperity will follow. Bitcoin amigos, all the way, every day, peace.
Hello out there. Oh man, I thought I'd do better the second time around there. First time was muted. We're on the air. Happy Monday, everybody. We got our co-host here sleeping already. Oh no, he's side-eyeing us. He's not sleeping. He's faking it. Good morning, everybody. Oh, this is a little bright. A little bright. The computer's running hot today. Okay. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Let me get out of the way here a little bit so you can see Arnie. That's what everybody's here to see, right? All right. Well, January 6th, 2025. Potentially a historic day. Who knows what's going to happen? I remember 4 years ago today. I'll never forget that day. And the only reason I'll never forget it is because it was so crazy. It wasn't really the fact that it was that bad of a thing. It was just crazy what was happening. But the craziest thing was what followed that for the next 4 years. And, I want to keep my channel here, so I don't want to say too much on it, but it was probably the biggest farce in human history, at least for the last, 19 years. So anyways, we'll see what happens today with, is it today? I don't even know. I feel like it should be today. But we also have the potential for Justin Trudeau resigning today here in Canada. And I'm not going to be too satisfied. I know it seems like a pretty good thing. I doubt it'll happen. The guy's got the biggest ego on planet Earth. So I don't know if it'll happen or not. I've heard that about 50 times in the last couple of months. But either way, I won't be satisfied until there's actual repercussions for these people. It's sick that they can just resign and just kind of slip into the darkness, back into the darkness. So we'll see what happens. Could be a historic day, could be a nothing burger, but hopefully everything goes okay. Is it even supposed to be today when that happens? Can someone from the US of A let me know? Is the certification supposed to happen today? All right. Oh, we got some zaps coming in already. Look at that. We got Letha's over in Zapstream. Happy Monday, Bitcoiners. 121 sats. And we got the grinder. 121 sats as well. Electronic cash system. And we got 2 verifications from Letha and the grinder that it is today. So I got to say, Zapstream, they got the zaps, they got the facts. They're light years ahead of YouTube today. How's Rumble doing too? We got Rumble, I think, hopefully. Let's double check that. I meant to mention the grinder. Hold on. One thing at a time here. One thing at a time. Are we live on Rumble? We are. Hold on. Good. Good to see. So hello, Rumble. Hello, Zapstream. And hello, friends of YouTube. The grinder. What was I going to say on the grinder here? Oh, I would listen to a podcast with the grinder the other day. So the grinder, this is my official invitation to you to do a podcast with me sometime. I don't know if we could do it on Zapstream and Spotify maybe, or Fountain. I don't really want to do it on YouTube because I feel like we'll get into the weeds a little bit. But the grinder was on, what was it, Pleb Chain Radio? Anyways, very enjoyable conversation. If you're on Fountain, I'm thinking they're only on Fountain, but I don't know for sure. Look at Arnie. He's snoozing. But anyway, sorry, a little bit of a slow start here. Brain's not moving too quick. The brain is not moving too quick for a Monday morning. Ginger, good morning, my friend. Getting together with Ginger today at some point, I think. Timber Crasher, one of our Bitcoin journeymen. Good morning, my friend. Killer, stay humble, stack sats. That's great advice. Grinder says I need more coffee. Yeah, I do. I need like an IV, a coffee IV. Good morning, Jay. Hey, Renita, one of our Bitcoin journeymen as well. And Buck 52,000. Good morning. Jason, good to see you, my friend. One of our OGs here. I think Jason was probably number 1, 2, or 3 people to ever show up here in the show, in the chat. He's here every morning, so big shout out to Jason out west. And Rick, good morning. Have we smashed the like yet? That's a great question, my friend. That is a great question. So would you guys like to watch the grinder and myself on Zapstream? If we get at least 5 yeses, we will do it. Okay, Rick, how did we do here? How are we doing? 43 people watching and 18 likes. Ooh. You hear that, Arn? Yeah, he's not pumped about it. We also have, we don't have it up yet. I was going to say we have Arnie's Zapstream for those people on YouTube, but there it is right there. You want to send some sats to our co-host who's sleeping right now, you can send it to his wallet. Easiest way to do it. Or just his wallet address there. Oh, there we go. Letha, one better than a yes. She zapped 1,000 sats and said the people want the interview. Okay. That's noted. That 1,000 sats on Zapstream is the equivalent of 5 yeses on YouTube. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay, see you later, Arnie. Good thing we got his little promotion in there before he left. Oh, what a guy. Hey, Mert. Good morning, my friend. Stacking sats to retire in 10 years. Good on you, my friend. Good on you. I don't know when I'm going to retire. Probably never. What is retirement? That's what you got to ask yourself. Judson, good morning. Okay, before we go any further, I do have a couple pieces of housekeeping to address before we do the show today. We got a couple videos to watch, very good videos. It's going to be a good show today. But I want to start with two things. There's I think 3 or 4 that I had, but I remember 2 right now. So the first one is the spam. The spam on my YouTube account right now is absolutely out of control. I don't know what to do about it. I'm not going to turn off the comments because I feel like that's the easy way out. But I don't know. I've been trying to delete them. I've been trying my best to report them and get rid of them, but they're multiplying. They're like gremlins. So the one thing I just would say there is that there's like some fake accounts now. It used to be just like try this wallet, or how can I recover my funds? Here's my seed phrase. That's a big one. The other one is like just shilling a whole bunch of like absolute shit coins. That's another one. There's like 100 comments in a minute on a few videos pumping the same shit coin. But there's also now like 88 sats clone accounts. So the one thing I would say on that is, or 2 things I'd say. Number one, make sure everybody out there listening to this right now has a separate email address for your Bitcoin stuff. That's going to, number one, increase your privacy online. And number 2, it's going to reduce the risk of some sort of phishing attack or scam happening to you. So get an email address specifically for your Bitcoin. Use that for exchanges. Use that for wallets. Use that for all of your communication around Bitcoin. Brand new address. Just go to ProtonMail, set up a new account, and just use that for your Bitcoin stuff. But the other thing there is that I'm assuming most people know this, but like I'll never reach out to tell you to text me on WhatsApp. I do occasionally tell people to email me, but it's my email address. You can always verify things too. And that's kind of going to be my second point here. But I'll never like reach out through WhatsApp or anything or ask you for money, nothing. If the best way if you want to verify that it's me, is either check my show notes for my actual contact info or join the Living in the Future community. So you're on Signal Chat with me. Other than that, there'll be no communication coming from me or asking you for anything. So that's the first piece of housekeeping. Oh, Grinder. The Grinder said, seeing Arnie makes me sad since Arco finally passed away last week. They could have been brothers. Yeah, I remember you showing a pic of Arco. Pretty close name too. See, that's a tough thing. I hate thinking about that stuff. But anyways, sorry to hear that, Grinder. That's very shitty news, my friend. Grinder says, if you're getting spammed on YouTube, you're succeeding. Yeah, you're probably not wrong, but it's just very annoying more than anything. And that's one thing that Bitcoin actually is going to fix. There's a catchphrase that says Bitcoin fix the money, fix the world, and Bitcoin fixes everything. Bitcoin will definitely solve the spam issue, because there'll be a day where if you want to leave a comment, you got to leave 2 sats. Wouldn't that be an awesome implementation into the world? You want to leave a comment, you want to send me a message, you want to call me, shoot me an email, got to give me 2 sats, 5 sats, 10 sats, half a sat. But in the world that we live in the world how it is, or the internet how it is today, it's just impossible to stop that, because they're free to make. That's the problem. That's why spam accounts exist, because there's no cost. And even if we were to do it on a fiat standard, then there's still no cost, because whoever's funding these bots and spam accounts could just literally create money. So we won't actually end the spam online until Bitcoin takes over. Daniel zapped 88 sats. Good morning. Good morning, Daniel. Thank you, my friend. Great number there. So that's the two. Actually, that's only the first thing I talked about. Second one, make sure if you have an Android phone, this is something I kind of messed up, and that's why I want to share with people on here, because I've kind of been encouraging people within the community living in the future, and especially the 8 Satoshis venture, the people who are in that. Every time you learn something new, just get a notepad. Every time you learn something new, just write it in there. Because if you learn something, there's a pretty good chance that there's a couple billion people behind you that are going to learn the same thing or need to learn the same thing. So the one thing that I learned yesterday was that I've been using Zap Store. I don't know how many people here use Zap Store. I think it's for Android only. I'm not 100% sure, but it's the nostr version of App Store. So it's Zap Store. It has a whole bunch of really good, useful apps related to nostr, Bitcoin, stuff like that. So I was using it for a while, and it was just working poorly, very poorly. And I didn't really know how to update it or anything like that. And then I saw yesterday on nostr that there was an updated version of it. So I tried to figure out how to update it. Again, very non-technical guy. I'm hoping there's other people out there who can relate to that. So you actually have to go to, I think it was zapstore.dev. It's from the GitHub anyways. And so I was pretty proud of myself last night when I went to install this, because right before I clicked install, I was like, I should probably verify this. And so I went to it's zapstore.dev, or you can look at their GitHub for Zapstore. So I went to Zapstore's nostr account, verified that that's their website, and then I installed it. So I was pretty proud of myself for doing that. 2 years ago, I never would have done that. I just would have pressed install because I didn't know any better. So anyways, the new Zap Store though, wow, very, very impressive. And the one app that I did want to talk about today is one called NewPipe. So these are my 3 new apps that I downloaded in the last 10 hours here. NewPipe, it's called. And it is a streaming alternative. It's a YouTube alternative. You can find all the videos on YouTube. I wonder if it shows I'm live right now, though. I didn't check that. Live. Yeah, it is. You can watch on there. There's no live chat, though. It doesn't look like, or is there? I don't know. But anyways, the point I wanted to make there was that I've been paying $15, I think, a month, maybe $10 a month for YouTube Premium, mostly because I like having the pop out feature where you can do things on your phone while you're still listening to YouTube. And you can do that on NewPipe for free. So I'm going to cancel my YouTube Premium account today and do that. So that's for people with Androids. I figure I would mention that for people. Ahsoka zapped 88 sats over on Zapstream. Thank you, Ahsoka. And again, the Arnie Zapstream is running as well. I haven't checked it yet, though, today. Let's see what we got in there. Anything? Oh, yeah, we do have something. 12,000 sats. Wow, somebody sent also, I forgot to mention, this was on Friday. Somebody sent in 16,000 sats saying, happy birthday, Bitcoin. Thank you, Satoshi. And somebody sent in 12,000 sats this morning. Wow. Anonymously, too. That is phenomenal. Thank you for the 16 and for the 12, whoever you were. That is very, very kind of you. So definitely check that out. If you're on Android, Zap Store, zapstore.dev. You can go to their GitHub, download the app, and there's a whole bunch of different apps that you can download around like the Google Play stuff. That's why I love the Androids, because with Apple, you're very guarded in there within whatever Apple wants you to see and do. Buck52 says, yes, today is inauguration. All right. Patrick, good morning. Saylor slowing down 1,000 Bitcoin bought. Yeah. Sign of the times, eh? Maybe. But I mean, he did pretty damn good up till up till this point. It is MicroStrategy Monday today too. So I got a good clip of Saylor to share today with everybody. Saylor's been taking a lot of shit lately, and it didn't help. I don't think it helped his case very much with his great Gatsby celebration there. But anyways, let's carry on. Rick says Trudeau will speak at 10:45 a.m. at Rideau Cottage. A news release from the Prime Minister's office said. 10:45 a.m. It'd be Eastern time probably, so that's in about an hour from now. Cleaning machine. Good morning. Stuck in Calgary traffic. Hope I don't miss anything important. Yeah. There's never too much important here. It's just logic, Oh, Spaceman is up to 121 sats. Good morning, stackers. Thank you, Spaceman. Thank you. All right. I love having this wallet here. It just lights up. And somebody sent in 888 sats with just 2 quotation marks. Zaps are buzzing this morning. For a Monday, Mondays are usually very slow in Zap world. So thank you, everybody, for starting the week. Nice here. Duncan, good morning. Stefan says, good afternoon from Europe. Good morning, Stefan. And we got Timber Crasher saying, yes, we want to watch you in the grinder. All right. Let's set it up, grinder. I would actually like to do or have him do it with other people, but I think the grinder should make a weekly show called Grinding and talk about Bitcoin. I'm looking forward to the conversation. I've always very much respected the grinder's opinions and thoughts and ideas because he's been around. He's been around for quite a while in Bitcoin land. And so those are the people that you want to trust and the people you want to listen to and pay attention to, because it is not easy. I don't know how long you've been in Bitcoin for, but it is not an easy ride. Ups, downs, getting called dipshits by the society. Mikkel says, Jordan, do you think Normie's not paying attention until 1 million Bitcoin is bold? Bold or bad? Oh, there's another zap. 500 sats anonymously. I don't know if they're on Zapstream or not, but they're only showing up on here. So anyways, thank you. 500 sats. We are humming. Lazy River says, sending some sats to Arnie's wallet. Don't see a way to send a note on strike. Oh, okay, so one of these was Lazy River. Well, thank you, Lazy River. I'm guessing anyways. So back to this one. Jordan, do you think Normie's not paying attention until 1 million is bold? I don't think it's going to take that long. I really don't. I think there's a lot of people who are still kind of, for some strange reason, sleeping on the fact that the U.S. government is about to start buying Bitcoin in 2 weeks from now, or a little more than that maybe. But I really do think that once that happens, that's the first real big domino to fall. Once the U.S. starts buying, other countries will start buying. There's going to be companies panicking to buy. It's going to be mayhem. And I think at that point, people won't be able to ignore it anymore. They will. And there still will be a large segment of the population who just continues to go on about their day every day in and day out. But I do think there will be a lot more eyes on Bitcoin once that starts to happen. Mikkel says, retirement is pointless. You should work, do what interests you, and do what you love until you're ready to go. I agree with that. Oh, the grinder says, I thought I was done talking Bitcoin, but since everyone on Wall Street is talking about it, I'm thinking of doing a Bitcoin show again. Yes. Grinding with the grinder. I want that to happen. What the heck does this mean? Flowkong. Hey, James Bond's in the chat. Was looking on Fountain, but it's not there. Yeah, I don't know how to do it on Fountain Live. I think there's a way, but I don't know how to do it. Oh, I got you. Grinder says, no, since every podcast seems to be a Wall Street podcast. Gotcha. Yeah, I know. There's definitely a big need for I mean, people say there's too many Bitcoin podcasts. I don't think that there is, because I think that everybody learns differently from different people. And I think the more people you can have talking about the fundamentals of Bitcoin, the freedom tech, the freedom money aspect of Bitcoin, the better for average people. Because you have to keep in mind here that when people log on to the computer, they might hear something on TV, they might be talking to somebody at a party, they might be talking to their coworker at coffee break, and they go on the computer and they type in, what is Bitcoin, or just Bitcoin. And nowadays, it actually directs them to like YouTube for a lot of things. So the more Bitcoin shows talking about the right things, I think the better off for the community here. So when you're showing up here, when you're leaving comments, when you're subscribing, when you're zapping, that's really an investment in Bitcoin. Because in order for this whole thing to succeed, there needs to be people talking about Bitcoin in the right way. And, you know, I'm obviously fairly biased in that sense, but I do like to consider myself somebody who is talking about the right things in Bitcoin. So an investment in this show is an investment in Bitcoin, because the bigger the Bitcoin network grows, the more valuable it becomes. Retro Beaver, good morning. Another Monday, another DCA day. Hodl legends. Amen to that. Oh, Michael, good stuff here. A couple good comments here. Says Jor, if you didn't ask for a D pick, then who did I email that to? And smash the like button for Jor, you mooches. Yeah, I mean, the likes, I would say the bare minimum, but we'll take it. Zaps are preferred always. What's going on in Rumble? Anybody over there? Rumble. I'm going to stop streaming to Rumble if nobody shows up over there. And that is a fact. Oh, Nico says, if you set your VPN for US, you can watch YouTube in the pop-up version for free. What? Why am I just learning about this now? Gregor says, Jor, do you think BlackRock will hard fork Bitcoin? Love the show, by the way. I do not. I think that we could run into issues with BlackRock and some other companies in like 50 years from now, but I do not see that as a real threat today. And we've been talking about this for the last month or so on here, because with the US, with other big institutions buying Bitcoin, it is something to consider. I'm more worried about, honestly, not a hard fork, but BlackRock controlling the block space through their own holdings and through the miners that they own significant influence in. That's what I'm more concerned with, is the block space. And I posted a video about that the other day, and people were like, well, nobody's going to be using layer 1 anyways. It's all going to be layer 2, layer 3. And that's just not the case. There's going to be a lot of people who are wanting to use Bitcoin layer 1. That's the whole value within Bitcoin layer 1, is the fact that it is immutable. It's the fact that it's very difficult or impossible to change. And the structure of it itself, the whole Bitcoin network, is the value there. There will be things built on top of it, of course. But the real deal here is Bitcoin layer 1. And if BlackRock and other big firms are deciding who gets to transact on layer 1, that's a problem. So that's what I'm more worried about than them forking it. You have to consider the fact how much time and energy and capital BlackRock has put into Bitcoin so far. Like, think about their incentives to change it. Why would they want to change it? To what? Like, what's the incentive for BlackRock to change Bitcoin? MicroStrategy added more Bitcoin. Yeah, let's get to that. Let's get to that. Grinder says a fork makes no sense for BlackRock. It really doesn't. When you look at the incentives that's what you got to consider with everything, is the incentives. But so MicroStrategy added more Bitcoin. Okay, let's start with that. So they bought 1,000 more Bitcoin today. This is about the 6th or 7th week in a row that MicroStrategy's been buying Bitcoin, and with no signs of slowing down either. So every Monday we've been doing MicroStrategy Monday here on the show. And today we're going to be talking about one of the analogies that Saylor used on a recent podcast he did with impact theory. And I listened to this. The interview was actually very good. And there's so much Michael Saylor stuff out there, content, interviews. And he seems like he approaches each guest a little bit differently. And some guests rub him the wrong way. And I forget this guy's name, the impact theory. He got a very big show, very big audience. And he was kind of pushing back on some of the things that Saylor was saying and interrupting him. And a lot of times Saylor will just have zero time for that. And you've heard him a couple of times say, if you actually want me to answer this question, you have to stop interrupting me. He said you're making it a very poor experience for your listeners. But in this case, impact theory was kind of grilling him a bit and pushing back on some of his theories and assumptions, because, you know, when Saylor gets on a big tangent, nobody stops him and nobody really questions what he's talking about or asks for a further explanation on it. So I really enjoyed this because Saylor was good with it. The host was asking him tough questions, and it was about 2 hours long, full of good information. And this was one that really stuck out for me. And I saw that Joe Burnett posted something about it this morning, so I wanted to watch it as well. And it is Saylor's waterfall theory, or waterfall analogy, I should say. So let's watch this. I'll put it on one and a bit speed. Oh, what did I do? 1.5 is probably too fast. Okay, let's get this up. Let's listen to Saylor's waterfall analogy here. Are you all in on the chair? Yeah, that's who it was. That was it wasn't this interview though. That was a couple years ago, right? But it is the same guy.
Michael Saylor recently shared one of his best analogies I've ever heard about Bitcoin. I think it's one of his most powerful clips, so I'm going to play it for you right now. After that, I'll add some additional commentary. Here's the clip.
But I think where people trip up with your language is this idea of the inevitability of the 60%. What would you say to that?
So we're dealing with three concepts: risk, volatility, and performance. Okay, so I've addressed the risk issue by pointing out that there is existential risk in your given network or frame of reference. And I just want to make that point that once you understand that risk of being in that frame of reference, then you have to figure out what's the source of the volatility and the performance. And if you don't understand why the asset does what it does, if you don't understand the economic physics involved, then you'll think it's random and you'll feel like the performance is risky. But I want to give you an example of a physical metaphor. I'm a hiker and I come across a mountain lake, and the mountain lake has 500 trillion gallons of water in it. And yeah, I don't know how it got there, but it's there. The water's chilly, it's clear. And I look down and there's a waterfall coming off the mountain lake. And the waterfall, you know, it's very beautiful and it's very turbulent, right? Water is turbulent in a waterfall. Water is not turbulent in a glassy lake. So the turbulence is volatility, right? And there's waterfall. And then I look at it, and now if you look and you say, I don't know why that water falls downhill. You know, I don't know if it'll keep falling downhill, but I hate the volatility. Then I guess you can take a selfie in front of the lake, go swimming, get cold, and leave. But if, let's say you're not a tourist, but you're an engineer. So you come across the same lake and you see the waterfall and you see the 500 trillion gallons, and you think about gravity and you think about sunlight. And now I know how the water got there. The water got there because the sun shone on the ocean. The water evaporated from the ocean. It rose up in the clouds. The wind blew it against the mountain. It condensed and it rained into the mountain, and the water ran off the mountain into the mountain lake. I know how it got there. And then I think, well, if I create a dam near that waterfall, I build myself a dam, I put a turbine on the dam, and then I drop 1 billion gallons of water. I channel 1 billion gallons of water through the dam, drop it 60 feet. And then I plug that into a hydroelectric power plant. I spin the dynamo, I make electricity. And then if I'm really smart, I run the electric power line to a village down in the valley. And I light up the village, or I light up the city. Now, someone can come along that doesn't understand physics, and they can say, good idea, Junior, but what are you going to do when the water stops flowing downhill? Well, I'm like, well, I actually think the water's flowing downhill because of gravity. Newton solved that for me. And then someone else comes along and says, good idea, Junior, but what are you going to do when you run out of water in the lake? I'm like, well, there's 500 trillion gallons, and I take out my calculator and a billion gallons or whatever. It's going to last a long time. Like, well, it's eventually going to run out. I say, well, the sun keeps shining on the ocean, and the ocean keeps lifting the water out of the ocean, and it drops it on this mountain. And that's why there's water in the mountain. But you're right. There's some kind of natural limit. And I suppose there's a limit to the amount of energy I can pull off of this dam, but it's a large number. It's a lot more than your donkey cart, and it's a lot more than your steam, wood stove, and it's a lot more than your coal power plant. And maybe it's a lot cleaner than burning, gasoline. So I'm an engineer, and you're seeing performance thinking it's random, and that's why it's going to stop. And you're seeing volatility and you're thinking it's random and maybe it'll stop. And here with Bitcoin, the reason Bitcoin's performing is A, it's volatile, but B, it's a more energy efficient state. The water is flowing down 5,000 feet because it's a lower energy state 1,000 feet below the mountain. It's a lower energy state. You've got potential energy in the water and it wants to go to ground, and that's just physics. The 500 trillion gallons of water is $500 trillion. And the $500 trillion of assets are sitting in real estate and currency and sovereign bonds and corporate bonds and artwork and equity. And they're invested in the stock of a company in Africa that's going bankrupt, right? They're invested in real estate in Cuba, in Venezuela, in Nigeria. They're sitting in a warehouse that's crumbling. It's got a 40-year life. And so entropy and inflation, you invested $100 billion in a war zone, and then a war broke out, and your asset got devalued. All of the things going on in the world, the war, the chaos, the competition, the inflation, the entropy, the passage of time, the hurricane, the COVID, vaccine, the COVID virus, all of these things impaired the value of your assets. The reason Bitcoin is going up, it's not an accident. It's because capital is economic mass. It is flowing from a high energy state, the mountaintop, to a lower energy state, to a more efficient state. It is steam condensing to water, condensing to ice, giving off energy, just like in any chemistry lab, you would learn this.
One of the reasons I really love this clip is because the interviewer, Tom, I believe, frames the question as kind of a gotcha question. He suggests that Saylor's language often makes Bitcoin sound inevitable, which feels like an impossible position to defend. After all, nothing is inevitable, including Bitcoin. But Saylor's response is brilliant. He breaks it down into risk, performance, and volatility. And the way he explains it is incredibly logical. First, he briefly addresses risk, acknowledging that yes, Bitcoin faces existential risk. Cryptography could be broken, there could be a nuclear holocaust, aliens could come down to Earth. Those things are technically possible, but they're also existential risks for humanity itself, not just Bitcoin. By pointing that out, he moves past the question of risk without dismissing it entirely. Then he shifts to performance and volatility, where he delivers what I think is one of the most beautiful analogies. Saylor compares capital flowing into Bitcoin to a waterfall connected to a lake, a massive, unimaginable reservoir of wealth and capital. The waterfall represents the volatile movement of that capital as it flows into Bitcoin. Now, when you see a waterfall, you don't think, wow, this is unsustainable. You instinctively understand that water flows downhill because of gravity, kinetic energy, and potential energy. It's just physics. The flow may look chaotic, but it's completely logical. And the same is true for Bitcoin. Capital is flowing into Bitcoin because Bitcoin is a superior monetary asset with the most superior monetary properties. And if you step back and look at the last 16 years, it's undeniable. The waterfall has been flowing for 16 straight years. Bitcoin's price has grown at an astounding 100% compound annual growth rate over that time. That's not speculation. It's historical fact. You are literally watching this flow of capital happen in real time. Why is it happening? Markets and individuals are actively choosing to allocate more capital to Bitcoin because it's the best form of money. It has unique monetary properties. It's scarce, portable, durable, divisible, and fungible that make it ideal for preserving wealth over time. This ties directly to a report I published earlier this year called Your Wealth is Melting. In that report, I explained how capital is flowing out of traditional assets like real estate, gold, US equities, dollars, and fixed income, and into Bitcoin. The reason is simple. Bitcoin is the only asset that cannot be perpetually produced or devalued by free market competition. If you hold wealth outside of Bitcoin, you're betting that the market won't increase the supply of that asset or devalue that asset with competition. But that's a risky bet. It's just like expecting the waterfall to stop flowing. You're fighting gravity and basic physics. And with Bitcoin, you're fighting market dynamics that are just as powerful. Ultimately, Saylor's analogy beautifully illustrates what's happening. It's not about making predictions. It's about watching reality unfold. For 16 years, we've seen capital flow into Bitcoin. And based on what we know about markets, incentives, and logic, there's every reason to believe that flow will continue. That's why I think this is one of the best analogies Saylor has ever used. It highlights Bitcoin's role as the natural endpoint for capital seeking long-term safety, stability, and growth, just like water flowing to its lowest point. Of course, it's volatile because everything is rapidly getting repriced in Bitcoin. The waterfall has existed for 16 years, and it's only getting bigger. Thanks for watching, everyone, and see you next time.
Pretty good stuff there, hey? I mean, a couple things just to, I know it's shitty to watch video and then hear somebody talk about it and then hear somebody else talk about it. But I mean, a couple things that I noticed in that video is the engineer aspect of it and kind of where we are today, where Bitcoin stands today, 16 years into this thing, is that if you look at who's talking about Bitcoin and who's studying Bitcoin and who's building in Bitcoin, you listen to somebody like that talk. They're engineers, they're physicists, they're everybody, like the most intelligent people on the planet. Intelligent, not like book smart, but like actual how the world works smart. Everybody there is talking about Bitcoin and everybody there is building on Bitcoin. And it seems like the longer they spend in Bitcoin, the more conviction they have in Bitcoin and the more things that are built in Bitcoin. And then you look at the other side of things. Just think about the two differences here between the people who are building in Bitcoin and the people who are building in the fiat system and still trying to, it's almost laughable at this point. Like you could just, if you put two people beside each other and they both gave like a 5-minute talk on where we are, where we're going, I think I would be very much, it'd be so easy to pick out who the Bitcoiner is in that conversation, honestly. And that just goes to show, you know, how far we are ahead of most people in the knowledge aspect of this. And I was listening to, or I was reading the Stone Ridge letter from, what's his name? Ross Stevens, the founder of NYDIG. And I was just thinking about how well he speaks and how the analogies that he was using and the stuff he was talking about in there, it was just mind blowing to me. And I'm actually going to be talking about it over these next couple of weeks, specifically about that letter. I'm going to break it down to a couple of different components. But the point that I wanted to make was that people like Ross, people like Saylor, only once you've been in Bitcoin for a while, and once you have a basic understanding of a certain number of components within Bitcoin, does this stuff really make sense? Because if you don't have that underlying knowledge about Bitcoin, somebody could talk for half an hour like Saylor, like Ross Stevens, and you wouldn't really understand what they're saying. You couldn't connect any dots there. So you have to actually put in a whole bunch of work within Bitcoin to understand the fundamentals there before you can actually appreciate how good Bitcoin is. And that's one part of it. The second one was the $500 trillion in capital that they were talking about. And what that is that if you look at the worldwide assets right now, they're 900 trillion total. And the analogy that he makes there is that approximately 450 or half of the 900 trillion is in just a store of value place. The other half is actually being used. It's circulating, but half of that 500 or 450 trillion is just simply being used for a place to store people's value, whether that's in real estate that they're not using, gold, bonds, things like this, where people are just trying to maintain their purchasing power that actually aren't doing anything. They own assets that don't actually do anything. And so he predicts that all that wealth is eventually going to flow into Bitcoin, just like a waterfall into a lake. So if you think about where we are today, we're at about $2 trillion market cap. And I don't know how long it's going to take, but as that analogy mentioned, it is inevitable at this point, as long as Bitcoin stays decentralized and secure, that capital is going to flow into Bitcoin. So we're going to go from a $2 trillion market cap to approximately 500 trillion in fiat terms. That's kind of the first stage here. from there, once that's done, the only cap on Bitcoin truly is our own imagination, because it's going to continue to capture our, we call it GDP now, but our productivity. And it's a very flawed term and a very flawed measure in fiat terms. But when you can measure the Earth's potential and productivity, that all is going to flow into Bitcoin. There's really no cap on that. And that's why it's entertaining to me when people try to tell me that the math is off when I say that 1 sat is equal to $1, because they're still thinking in the fiat terms. They're still thinking that 900 trillion is like the maximum human productivity that we can achieve. And in my opinion, it's about a fraction of it. So people who will tell you that Bitcoin will never hit $100 million because it doesn't make mathematical sense don't have a clue what they're talking about. Because Bitcoin's going to not only unlock the world's economy through micropayments online, but it's going to be able to capture human productivity and human imagination. That's kind of our only cap within Bitcoin forever. So whenever somebody tries to tell you that our maximum is 900 trillion, our human potential is 900 trillion measured in a fake, illusionary, corrupt, centralized system, it's bullshit. There's no cap here. There is no cap on Bitcoin. I see some, I missed a lot over here on Zapstream, but I missed a couple of zaps as well. So thank you to whoever sent in 320 sats, and thank you to whoever sent in 121 sats. And I see Sunshine over in the Zapstream. Good morning, Sunshine. And Plunger. We got a good crew in Zapstream today. It's great to see. And I see we hit 100,000 sats again too, or $100,000 Bitcoin. Remember when there was people doing streams about that? Now it's just like another day. Hold on, let me verify that. Yes, we are. Blew past it actually. Wow, look at that fat green candle. Straight up. Other shows have the price playing in the background. I just have it on my phone. Very, very old school, archaic around here. Anyways, that was Saylor. What an analogy and what a good video, I think, there to watch. Letha said, Jory, you should do a solo on the next Amigos album. I think it would be fun if we could actually, it would be cool to have our voice on there, because all the other songs have been AI generated, right? Noah's over in YouTube. And I think that she's in Zapstream now. I saw her over there. Luke says, what do you think about this idea? A Bitcoin customer service line, monthly sub for Bitcoin noobs. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think that, I mean, we kind of already have that in terms of living the future somewhat, but we're going to build it out much more extensively for 2026, which is going to be our 8 Satoshis venture. That's kind of the idea there, is we want to build up this very extensive library of Bitcoin content. And so if you have a friend, a family member, anybody who's trying to learn about Bitcoin, you just send them to this 8 Satoshis and they get a membership, $5 or $8 a month, and they'll have access to unlimited amounts of Bitcoin content. And also, I think just as importantly, it'll give resources you can trust. It'll give accounts you can trust. It'll give the order that you should do things in approximately. And I think that that's just as important, if not more important for somebody who's just getting into Bitcoin, to learn what steps to do things in. Because you can pretty much find anything on the internet for free now. It's just, you don't know who to trust and you don't know what order to do things in. And I mean, that's a pretty good time to talk about the 365 days of Bitcoin, which is now 5 days into it. Today's going to be the 6th day. I'm going to be talking about earning Bitcoin today. But really good start to it. We've done 5 shows so far. We got several people in there who are signed up for the 365 days of Bitcoin. And I think as more people continue to join, I'm going to create a group chat for people within that group. And I'm also going to start doing either weekly or monthly private shows or private sessions for people who are members of that. And at the end of it, you're going to get a nice certificate saying that you passed the 365 days of Bitcoin, which won't be internationally recognized right off the start, but I think it will be something in the future, because 365 days is a lot of Bitcoin stuff. From start to finish, you're going to be in a pretty good spot once you wrap that course up. And the majority of videos are going to be between 10, 15 minutes long every single day, talking about a different topic, building on topics. And I have about 450 topics total. So I got to narrow it down a little bit. So if you want to join that, there's already been, again, several people, probably a dozen people have joined. You can join from the show notes. Go to the Living the Future membership thing and find the 365 days of Bitcoin. I posted this during the video there, but I think this is worth mentioning again. Congrats to those of us who are stacking like madmen in the last bear market. We deserve this. Yeah, and don't stop either. That's the thing, because it's not slowing down. That's for sure. Take these next couple weeks. Look under your couch cushions. Sell everything you have in your house except your bed, and get rid of all your other shitty investments that have been earning 3% a year, and just put it all into Bitcoin. Even sell some of the stuff you've had for a decade or two that you think you might use sometime. Just sell it, cash it in, buy some Bitcoin. I think I exchanged $41 worth of bottles and cans from the garage, and buying Bitcoin with that. And my piggy bank, cashing that in to buy Bitcoin. You have to be doing it right now. I mean, we just talked about it going from a $2 trillion to a $500 trillion market over time. But people are really underestimating what's going to happen here when Trump takes office in 2 weeks from now in terms of Bitcoin stuff. All right. Tom Bilyeu annoys me. Seems pompous. That's from Mazeman, and Joe says the same. Tom is an arrogant ass. All right. Well, I mean, I've watched some interviews. I do think that he is kind of arrogant, but I also think he has some really good conversations with people. So it's a trade-off, right? Bangkok Bert says, if we break 102, 103 with conviction, we're ripping to 125. We'll see. We will see. What else do we have here? We got Patty says, good afternoon from Iranian dystopian UK. Just bought more MicroStrategy on a market open. How did it open today? MicroStrategy. Oh, okay. Well, we're cooking again. 1 month, 6 months. Yeah, 350. What did it even get up to? It got up to 470 a month ago, 2 months ago. Wow. So it's a little bit undervalued, I would say. And Saylor said that even when it was at 473, that it was very much undervalued. And I agree with that. What was I going to do here? Oh, metrics. This is what I want to share today. I think it is important to be, I was doing this every show, but it got to be a little bit too much for me in the morning. But I'm going to start doing this again, hopefully. So let's look at the metrics from this time last year and see where we were at. You can see on my spreadsheet here, I got 3 years of data now. 2003, 24, and 2025. So this was 1 year ago yesterday. The block height was way back. The fees were 78 sats per VByte 1 year ago today. What are they today? 3 sats. The price was 44,047. And with $1 US, you could get 2,200 sats. Wow. That's a little depressing, honestly, but that was 1 year ago today. Today, block height 878094, 3 sats per VByte. The price is 99. Well, it's over now. It's 100,000. And you can currently get less than, let me update these. So 1 year ago today, you could have purchased a Bitcoin, or one US dollar would have gotten you 2,200 sats. Today, right now, it will get you $1 US will get you what? 989. Wow. And the price is currently, I mean, it's kind of a joke that we're excited about this, honestly. It's exciting, but at the same time, it's like this is so incredibly undervalued for where we are right now with everything shaping up and everything that we know. This is an incredibly underpriced asset. Here in Canada today, that's not right either. What do we have for? I'm scared to look at this. This is the depressing part. Uh-oh. This is the depressing part for me. 144,996 Canadian. Holy, for one Bitcoin. Wow. And what is it? 704. It's less now probably, but wow. That's bananas. That's straight up bananas. Tough to see, honestly. But anyways, we got another zap here. 420 sats. Good morning, and thanks for sharing this Saylor bomb. Dude is a full-on genius. I'm thinking that came from the zap stream, but I don't see it there. All right, let's keep her going here. TradFi will not go down without a fight. Yeah, I don't know if they need. I don't know if they're going to have a choice though, or if they need to fight. It's just gonna happen. Locksky, good morning. Thank you for all the support lately. Wow, Locksky's purchased about 20 memberships for people in the last month. So thank you, Locksky. That is very much appreciated. Very much appreciated. Yeah, Coinbase will go down. That's another thing here too. Is going to be. Just be ready for what's coming here, like mentally. And it's exciting for sure, but you should be taking every opportunity right now while we have the time to be setting up for what's coming. You know what's coming. You have a crystal ball in front of you right now. You are so far ahead of everybody else on this planet right now. You know what's going to happen these next 2 weeks and 2 years and 2 decades. And you have to start getting ready for that. And one of those things, I mean, there's a whole bunch of things you need to kind of have in place. You need to take it slow, but you need to be aware of the things that you have to do within Bitcoin. It's the easiest part is buying it. The harder part is storing it. And the hardest part is making sure that you have it in 20 or 50 years from now. So you should be actively taking steps every single day to do that. And now is the best time to be doing that. So what I would say with that is one of the easy things you can do is just get set up on like 2 or 3 different exchanges, as Buck 52,000 says here. Have at least 2 or 3 or 4 exchanges kind of set up. You don't have to get on there and buy a whole bunch of Bitcoin, but just create accounts at least 2 or 3 exchanges. Because when this starts really running up, and let's say you want to sell 2% of your stack to pay off some debt or to buy a new vehicle or whatever you have in mind here, you have to be able to do that. It's not like you're just going to be able to log on to any old website and sell your Bitcoin. Like you have to have this stuff ready to go. And when the price runs up, exchanges often go down for maintenance. And so just imagine you bought Bitcoin a couple of years ago and you've had this earmarked for the time when Bitcoin goes to like 150, 200K. And you're all excited. You're going to sell, pay off some of your debt, get rid of some of your stress. You log into your exchange and it's down. What do? You cannot just create an account, get verified, and sell it on there within 10 minutes. And you might miss it. This stuff happens very fast. I don't know if you've been through a Bitcoin bull run before, but like it moves fast. So again, just get yourself set up. You don't have to go crazy. You don't have to buy a bunch of Bitcoin on every exchange. Just get yourself set up to do it. And it's the same thing if Bitcoin were to crash. Let's say that something happens in the next, God forbid, but let's say that something happened and Bitcoin crashed down to $40,000. and you log into your exchange, you got a whole bunch of dry powder there that you've been saving for, which you shouldn't be, but if you do, and you want to dump it into Bitcoin, your exchange is down. Sorry, come back in a week from now after you're verified. So, I mean, if you're in Canada, the one that you should be using 100% is Bitcoin Well. They're by far the best Bitcoin platform in Canada. I don't even think it's a comparison, honestly. So Bitcoin Well, that's if you're in Canada, if you're in the US, and if you're looking for some exchanges within your home country, I know there's a lot of people who watch this around the world, or I shouldn't say a lot, but there are people from around the world who watch this. So you just go to bitcoin.org, and you can see the exchanges that are available in your country. So these are the international ones. You got some peer-to-peer ones, and then it breaks it down by continent. So get yourself set up. I mean, if you're in Canada, I would say Bitcoin Well number 1, Bull Bitcoin number 2, and probably ShakePay number 3. Those are the 3 that you should probably have. And I'll make sure that all 3 of those referral links are in the show notes. You'll get a sign-up bonus for using the link. So Bitcoin Well, Bull Bitcoin, ShakePay. I would say in the US, Bitcoin Well, River, Strike. Those are the 3 that you should have in Canada and the US. And don't wait either. Don't wait on exchanges. Don't wait on devices. Get yourself set up while you still can, because again, this stuff happens very fast. Hey, Bitcoin Not Crypto says, morning, Joy. Looking forward to chatting on my pod on Thursday. Yeah, that's this week. I'm looking forward to that as well. Bitcoin Not Crypto. It's a really good channel. I've been enjoying the videos on the channel there. So I'm going on his show on Thursday, and maybe I'll have him on the show here in the next little while. So we got the Grinder, we got Bitcoin Not Crypto. I want to get Jeff Booth on here sometime soon. And there's another one too that I want to talk to. But anyways, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Jason says the debt markets will be tapped near term to buy like the Saylor play, then other stores will follow. Yep. Fully agree. All right. I don't know who this is. It's NPub, but they said Beaver Bitcoin in Canada is also good. Interesting. Okay, maybe I'll get set up on Beaver Bitcoin. Do you have a referral link for that I could use? Beaver Bitcoin. I mean, I don't really use ShakePay to buy and sell Bitcoin anymore, but I do enjoy their free sats every day, and I use it for all my purchases too. Beaver Bitcoin. All right, if anybody has a referral link for Beaver, send it my way. And again, I'll put actually what I'll try to do for this show in the show notes is I'll try to put right at the top, I'll try to put the Canadian referral links and then some US ones. I'll try to get in touch with some people to get some American ones for River and Strike. And I'll put them all in the show notes today. If I'm going to remember. It just makes sense. You never want to sign up for anything new unless you have a referral link. That's my opinion anyways, because you're just kind of missing out on free stuff, free sats or free money. All right. Why will Coinbase go down? Yeah, it happens every time. It's, oh, we got a lot of stuff to get through here. Wow. Okay. We got some, I think it's Noah. I can't tell for sure, but I think it's Noah based on what they're saying. It says in the UK, I use Coin Corner and Strike. And somebody says, check Darren Honeyset on Nostr for Beaver Bitcoin referral. How come you don't have one? Darren Honeyset. Good name. I'm hungry for honey. Now I'm hungry for honey. All right. What Timber Crasher says, I'm so excited for 8 Satoshis. I'm going to start making Bitcoin content like no one has ever seen before. Wow. Love that, man. That is awesome. And Letha says she's on day 4 of 365. I've learned a ton. Well, thank you, Letha. That's a good testimonial for people who are thinking about it. It's pretty good. I mean, I think we'll look back in 5 years. I don't know. I always have bigger dreams than probably our reality, but I think it'll be one of those courses, and I'm going to have it available after too, if you want to wait, but you know, why not go through it? Why not go through it with everybody else at the same page, same pace? And I think the private sessions that we're going to do are going to be very beneficial. You can, again, I encourage people to take a notepad, write down any questions or anything that they are unsure of. And then in the private sessions, that's when we can go through that kind of stuff. So again, 365 days of Bitcoin, check it out. And it's like $20 a month, I think, $21 a month. So I wanted to make it like $1 per day. If you do it for the full year, it's going to be $1 per day. So if you think one of my videos, 10-minute, 15-minute video is worth $1 per day, then it's a no-brainer. Hey, good morning, Matt. 3 comments here. Good morning, team. Matt was really excited to join the chat today. Duncan says, do you have a referral link for Coin Corner? Oh, that would be Noah, I think. You're going to have to get in touch with there, Duncan. And Sunshine says, I love Strike. I use it for direct deposit for my fiat job. Very easy to move a slider to easily convert 0 to 100% of your paycheck into Bitcoin with direct deposit. Wow. That's pretty badass. That is pretty badass. I'm a fan of Strike. I like Jack a lot. Maybe I'll get Jack on the show here sometime. Wow, Brennan says stopping is already proven to be impossible for me. Yeah, I feel you, man. Charlie sold his bed, sleeping on the floor now. That a boy. That a boy. And Charlie says, Jor, when Lightning transfers on Bitcoin, well, oh, when are they going to be available? I'm guessing soon. It seems like Bitcoin Well is very focused on building out their platform in Canada and the US, so I don't think it would be very long. All right. What else do we have here? Sorry, I'm trying to get through all these, so I'm going to probably skip a few here. Oh, Ian, we got, hi, Jordan gang. I sold my car to buy Bitcoin. Love my car, but looking at my Bitcoin, best decision. It's a bold move. I like it, though. I think the boldest move that I made within Bitcoin is my rental house. That was a big one for me. Because it was, I mean, I don't want to get too far into it, but it was a really good house. It was like from 1905 or something. Like it was a red brick house on a corner lot in an old neighborhood, huge lot. You probably could have put a 20 apartment building on that lot. But at the time, it was just like, this doesn't make any sense for me to hold. This is back in 2020. I sold it at the worst possible time, but even then, so I sold it at the top. I think I probably paid like 65,000 US. So I didn't get a whole lot of Bitcoin for it. And I was pissed. I was pissed for the next couple of years. I'm like, why did I sell my house at that time? That was so stupid. But now, like three years later, that investment has pretty much doubled since then. And I don't think that my house would have doubled since then, at the top even. So did I say selling? I don't know. This is another one too. This is one I would suggest for anybody who's out there who feels like they're a little bit too far ahead of their skis right now. Caleb and Brown. I started working with them about a month or two ago now. And they're international. They've been around for about 10 years. And the nice thing about Caleb and Brown is 2 things. Number one, they actually give you your own advisor. So you don't have to log into a website, figure out how to send money, all that. There's no high frequency stuff there. You call somebody, and you talk to them, a human, which today, 10 years ago, that would have been like standard. But today it's very hard to find somebody to talk to with anything. So you get your own advisor, plus they'll actually let you keep your Bitcoin there, which usually I I disapprove of and tell people to hold their own Bitcoin. But there are certain circumstances, like if you got $50,000 or even $20,000 and you want to buy Bitcoin, instead of leaving it on like Coinbase or trying to rush and set up your own wallet, just let Caleb and Brown hold it for like 2 or 3 months. Honestly, like I think your Bitcoin would be 100% safer there than trying to do it on your own. And take those couple months, learn about Bitcoin, learn about hardware devices, learn how to store your Bitcoin, and then whenever you're ready, you can call up your advisor and say, I want my Bitcoin. So I really think that that's a very underused, and again, they're international. So add that to your list of, I'll put my link down there. And if you have any questions, if you want to set up like a quick call to talk about them, I'm more than happy to do that. So I'll add my Caleb and Brown link down there as well if you want to sign up for an account. My advice would just be to just get an account. Even if you don't use it for like 2 years, just get yourself an account with Caleb and Brown, and they're going to be the ones you want to talk to when things are going up or down, honestly. Whether you want to send them Bitcoin to sell it for you or hold Bitcoin with them or buy some. I think that when Coinbase, when these other exchanges are going down, the Caleb and Brown one will be your best, most reliable option. Brennan says you can have 1 marshmallow this epoch or 50. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, right? You're not wrong. Beaver is good. Nothing beats Bitcoin well, though. Yeah, I agree with that. Bitcoin, not crypto. Let's throw that up one more time. The people I trust in Bitcoin all recommend Bitcoin well. 2032 will be the year where whole coiners will be the new rich. Yeah, I mean, whole coiners today are looking pretty good themselves. But yeah, in terms of like, big money, I agree. Thorego says Bitcoin, not crypto is a good channel. I agree. I very much enjoy the videos on there. Kev, good morning. Cleaner Machine says 365 days of Bitcoin is amazing. My wife watches them also. Yeah, that's the nice thing too, right? Like they're in order. They build on each other. They're going to cover every single topic in Bitcoin, and you can rewatch them. You can go back. You can take a week off and you can go back and batch watch them. I think it's a really good way to do it. What else we got going on in here? Strawman. I regret selling half of Bitcoin 4 years ago to take a loss to help me on another. Oof. I regret selling half of Bitcoin 4 years ago to take a loss to help me on another capital gains tax. Fucking government. Was able to replenish. Won't be doing that again. Yeah, just the last thing I'll say about Caleb and Brown here, as Charlie says, is that Caleb and Brown holds their Bitcoin and crypto with Fireblock. So Caleb and Brown, they don't do custody themselves. They actually have a third party called Fireblock who holds all the Bitcoin and crypto. So again, they've been around for probably over 10 years now, and a great option for anybody international wise. Holy 105K, we're buzzing. Okay, I did want to watch one other video here. What do we got for time? Whew. Okay, can we make it? Can we do it? More big news today that nobody's really talking about right now. Don't sleep on color. Michael Moe says KURL or color has acquired 213 Bitcoin for 21 million at 98 per Bitcoin and has achieved Bitcoin yield of 93% year to date. As of Jan 6, 2025, we hodl 430 Bitcoin acquired for 42 million at an average of 97,000 per Bitcoin. So we got MicroStrategy we got Semler Scientific, and we got this new entry on Metaplanet, and we got this new entry, KULR. Does this not look like a Michael Saylor tweet? He actually retweeted it this morning. That's why I saw it. People are taking note. People are taking note. And if you ask me, I still wouldn't, I don't know. Like I was talking about Semler very early on in the podcast here before it was really anything. And I think you could get a Semler share for like $10 at the time. And it was a good buy then. And you know, something like this might be a good buy now, but I still don't think anybody is going to outperform MicroStrategy. I really don't. And so I'm looking at these Semlers, I'm looking at the KULRs, other companies who are getting into Bitcoin. I just don't think anybody's going to be able to compete with MicroStrategy. I really don't. And there might be some arbitrage where MicroStrategy shoots up and you want to sell a few to buy some KULR or Semler. But for the most part, like if you're looking at this thing really long term, there's going to be no better spot than MicroStrategy in the traditional world. Holding Bitcoin yourself is by far the best option there. But if you have money tied up in the old system, I just don't think anybody's going to outperform MicroStrategy. But anyways, the video I want to watch here is talking about this kind of stuff. This is talking about institutional wave and then nation state wave and kind of where we are right now. I want to watch this video quickly. So let's get to it. I'll try to get some other questions addressed after, but I do want to watch this video here. This is Mark Moss. This was his presentation at the Dubai conference. Talking about institutions, talking about nation states, talking about where we are today. I thought this was a very good presentation, but I want to watch about 5 minutes of it.
Now, during this time, Bitcoin by 2020 took about 0% of store value assets. Not even a blip, not even a drop in the bucket. Okay, now let's get into some of this future, okay? Now, phase 2 is what we call the frenzy phase, and this is where we're at today, all right? This is gonna be unlike anything we've ever seen, and no matter how bullish you are, you're not bullish enough. Now, this is where Bitcoin evolves from the collectible phase and cements itself as the premier store value. All right, so what we can see is we're in this institutional frenzy phase, and we're starting to see institutional adoption come in. And now, of course, here we are talking about sovereign adoption that both happen in this phase. Now, this maps, again, in the evolution of money, and we'll complete the store value phase. We'll get to the medium exchange phase next. But this is where we're at today. Now, again, not all collectibles make it to this next level, but Bitcoin will. Now, I do want to point out real quick, for everybody who thinks that they're too late, that maybe they missed it, using an S-curve dynamic is how we'll look at technology adoption. Now, one way we can look at this S-curve is that the time it takes to go from 0 to 10% is the time it takes to go from 10 to 90%. And the reason why I want to show you this is because it illustrates that the size of this move we're going into now is much larger. Sure, today Bitcoin is about a $2 trillion US dollar market cap. Hundreds of billions of dollars have gone into it. And now we're about to see trillions of dollars come into it. The size and speed of the move is much bigger. So you haven't missed anything. It's just getting started. Now, at this point, we can see this total store value assets. You can see Bitcoin down here on the bottom right, sitting today at about 2 trillion. And it's still just a little blip on the road right here, a drop in the bucket. Now, how much bigger is it going to get? Well, I got a bunch more charts to show you, so don't worry. But really, right now, this is the frenzy. This is the institutional phase. We can see that right now today, about 60 companies have already started adopting Bitcoin on their balance sheet. And this is happening every day. We see new announcements of this happening. This chart, the big chart here, shows the real institutional adoption. We have MicroStrategy adding about $1 billion a week. I just saw before I went on stage, Riot just added about $500 million of debt to buy Bitcoin. We have Marathon doing $1 billion. And right now, this is showing us that about 13.5% of all Bitcoin is now being held by institutions. Of course it is. Bitcoin was always coming for everybody, and this is part of the second stage. Now, it's not just institutions, it's also sovereign adoption. We have sovereign FOMO. We have, of course, El Salvador, sort of with this first mover advantage. Brazil just introducing bills to build a strategic reserve. Of course, the United States has their Bitcoin bill going through. Now, per Polymarket, I looked earlier today, it's about a 25% chance of going through. I think that's way too low. I think it's going to be much higher. Now, history shows us what happens when sovereigns start competing. History shows us a lot of things. So, for example, in the 1800s, the entire world decided to go to a gold standard. Some parts of the world, like China, didn't want the gold standard. They had silver. They wanted to stay with silver, and they lost their position as a world leader. We saw the 1950s, the race for space. We saw the race for nuclear weapons. When nations start competing, things really take off. So we have a precedent for where this is going. But why? Why are the institutions FOMOing in, racing into a new asset? Well, because they see what we all should see. They see that there is no end to the monetary debasement that's coming. And they're all looking for a way to protect themselves. What we have right here is that we can see the bottom right is the US Federal Reserve's balance sheet, which has been expanding by 13% a year over the last 4 years. We can see the money supply has been averaging over 8.5% over the last 4 years, and there's no end in sight. How do we know there's no end in sight? Well, besides the fact that they're in a debt-based monetary system that always has to grow, the government actually tells us that. We can look at the CBO, Congressional Budget Office, and we can see that they are projecting through 2054, the next 30 years for us. And they show us that the deficit spending is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. They show us that the debt levels are going to go up like a hockey stick. And they also show us that population growth on the top right is going to plummet as the GDP goes down at the same time. Population growth going down, GDP going down, means debt levels go up. Now, they also show us the budget through 2054, 30 years from now, and there's no recession in sight. They don't expect any dip in the revenue coming in. So where does all this come from? Money printing. Now, of course, this is what they tell us for the next 30 years. When you look at the population decline and the GDP decline, I think this is way understated. But for the purpose of what we're doing, we're going to use these numbers and project it out into the future. So in this phase from 2020 to 2030, using the numbers that we have from the last 4 to 5 years, we can project out the money supply growth at 8% continuing, bonds going up 5%, real estate and equities, which are basically perfect proxies for monetary debasement, going up at 8%. Bitcoin maybe finishing the decade at about a 53%, right about 60% right now. That would put Bitcoin at a 21 trillion market cap. $1 million per Bitcoin in the next 5 years, or a 10x from right here. Now, this may sound like a big number, but if we look at it, Bitcoin is only capturing 1.5% of total store value assets at this point. Now, if it was able to get 5%, which might be way more reasonable, that puts Bitcoin at a $3 million price per Bitcoin. So I believe 1 million is extremely bearish and not bullish at all. Now let's just keep going. If we look at it as a percentage of store value assets, just so you can visually see it a little bit better, you can see that now Bitcoin is about on par with gold. Maybe it's overtaken. It's flipped gold by this time. Now, it's one point that I want to bring out right here real quickly is a lot of people think that for Bitcoin to be worth 1 million or 5 million or 20 million, well, the dollar's worthless, right? At that point, the dollar doesn't buy anything. No, that's absolutely not right. You see, Bitcoin is disrupting other assets. I have a venture fund called the Bitcoin Opportunity Fund. As a venture investor, we look at a disruptive technology, we look at the size of the markets it's disrupting, and then we speculate as to what percentage we think we could take from those other markets. So Bitcoin is taking from bonds, it's taking from real estate, it's taking from equities. The dollar doesn't have to die. Sure, gas goes from $4 to $8. It doesn't mean it goes to zero. Now, is that realistic to get 1%? Well, we can look at other disruptive technologies like Uber or Airbnb. Both of them were able to capture 10% of their market in less than 10 years. 1.5% is extremely conservative. All right, now let's start going into the future, and I'm running out of time, so I'm going to start talking even faster. All right.
All right, we're going to leave it there for now. I think that's enough. That's enough reasons to be bullish about Bitcoin here. I mean, it just makes sense. It's just math. That's the thing that people on the outside really don't understand here. And in the last half hour, we went from less than 99,000 to 102,000 now. So this thing moves fast, and it's going to keep moving fast. And I really like the part that he talked about there. Well, when Bitcoin's 1 million or 5 million, whatever it is, people really believe that our dollar won't be worth anything. That they say that a loaf of bread will be worth $100 at that point. That's not true at all, because this money isn't going to come from the everyday person. It's going to come from the money that's sitting in real estate. It's going to come from money that's sitting in bonds, in gold. That's where it's going to come from. It's not going to change the purchasing price of anything. It will continue to get more expensive. Let's say 10% a year, maybe, if we're lucky. But it's not like we're going to go to a time where the US dollar becomes zero. It's never going to happen, especially when Trump takes office, and I think he's going to move things into the US Treasury. The Treasury is going to back a new dollar behind Bitcoin, and things will improve without anybody knowing why things are getting better. So the point there is just to understand where we are. And I know most people who watch that who haven't studied Bitcoin will think that that's insanity, but I'm thinking most people here realize that that's absolutely possible. So then you go to what happens when Bitcoin becomes 1 million. And this is the best part. When Bitcoin becomes $1 million per Bitcoin, that means that 1 sat is equal to 1 cent. And that's when we start measuring things in sats versus Bitcoin. And when it goes from 1 cent to 2 cents, that's 1 million to $2 million. And then 2 cents to 3 cents, 3 cents to 10 cents. That's when things really start to move here. And so today, going back to our metrics there that we talked about, 1 year ago, you could have purchased 1 year ago with $1 in the US, you could have got 2270 sats for $1 1 year ago. This is when the price was $47,000 US. Today, this is even less now since we've updated these. That same $1 US gets you less than 1,000 sats in 1 year. And if and when Bitcoin hits $1 million US, that's going to be 1 sat. No, that's wrong. 100 sats. So again, you shouldn't be you shouldn't be doing anything else in your life right now other than trying to get as many sats as you possibly can. That's it. That should be your main focus for these next couple of months, years, and decades. Do everything that you can. Start off by selling things, but then find ways to keep earning, to keep adding value, whether you're earning fiat and converting it to Bitcoin or earning Bitcoin. But that's your focus. Buying it, learning how to store it, and then learning how to protect it for when we hit 1 million, when we hit 5 million, 100 million. That should be everybody's main focus right now here. I don't have to tell you what's going to happen here. I don't need to get you excited about it. I need you to get prepared for what's coming here. So pretty, Mike says the KULR is already up 2,000 in the last year. Wow. Mr. Dig Deeper. Let's fucking go, ladies and gents. Way to start off the week. Yeah, it's not usually like this on Monday. It's interesting to see what's going on here. All right, we got a couple zaps to report too. Hey, look at that. We got 2,100 sats. Good morning, Jor and Arnie. Where is Arnie? He's gonzo. Thank you for that. I don't know who that was from, but 2,100 sats for Jor and Arnie. Thank you. And we got Hobbit zapped 88 sats over in the zap stream. And somebody sent in 100 sats to the QR here, I think. So thank you. This has definitely been the hottest Monday morning for Zapwise in a long time. Usually Mondays are very slow, scraping to get by. MicroStrategy is the boss in this game. They will explode sooner or later. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting thought. I don't know how. I don't know what your thesis on that. How they would explode, or you mean upwards? Yeah, I agree with that. I thought you meant like explode to zero. Yeah, I mean, just wait until Apple shows up. Wait till Nvidia shows up. Like we're nowhere right now. We're a rounding error right now. So yeah. I like Mark Moss too. I'm a big fan of him. He's a very good speaker. Stefan says, I think the best way to build Bitcoin conviction is to truly understand that fiat is done. Yes, and there's no way to turn it around either. It's difficult to truly appreciate this information, but it's true. They are toast. Yeah, over the counter, when over the counter buys can no longer keep the price down. We're not too far away from that. We're not too far away from that. And like an over the counter is actually Caleb and Brown is an over the counter, which means that they're not on any tickers. They're not part of the average price. You call them, you say you want to buy or you want to sell, and they give you a price over the counter. Whenever you're dealing with people, when people are buying, it's peer-to-peer basically with Caleb and Brown. You're buying it from them. Who else we got here? What else? I'm trying to get to lots of comments in here. Wow. Bangkok, are you part of Living the Future? I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen maybe a couple times, but I don't think they are. Okay. We got her locked in here. So, oh yes, this is a good point from our friend James Bond. Bitcoin Well can also be over the counter, I think, for big amounts. Yeah, if you're looking to buy 50,000 or more, I think Bitcoin Well is acts like an over the counter. But the one thing to keep in mind there with Bitcoin Well, I would say two things. Like if you are somebody who has a significant amount of capital that you want to put into Bitcoin, let's say 50 grand, you could use Bitcoin Well, but you really have to be set up first. Like you have to have everything in place before you do that. Because with Bitcoin Well, they don't hold any Bitcoin, or they might. Actually, I don't know this for sure, but I'm guessing they don't. They would help you through the whole thing probably, and they give you like a white glove service for that, an advisor. But one thing to keep in mind there is if you are buying that much Bitcoin, it's never a bad idea to just let somebody like Caleb and Brown with their Fireblocks custodial service, just to hold it for a little while. Like don't send them money and then forget about it and then try to get it in 20 years from now. But let them hold it. Let yourself get figured out, get your security intact, and then they'll send you the Bitcoin when you're set up. Oh, look at that. Grinder says if you want 50K worth of non-KYC Bitcoin, he'll hook you up with some miners. Oh, Grinder. And we're at 102 now. Let's pump it up. Let's pump it up. Let's see where things go today. Spiel says 20 fiat is a fake money to enslave us, and we were born into this and thought about this system. Thought the system was real life, but it isn't. Yeah, that's the catch. Fish born in water, right? We don't really know any differently. Charlie says, Jordan, you watched the show Landman? We just finished it, actually. The daughter and wife ruin it. Really? Yeah, I don't know. I do think that it's a little bit weird that they're sexualizing a 17-year-old. But I'm a fan of the mom. I think she's an entertaining part of the show. Her relationship with the main guy, Billy Bob, is pretty entertaining. But yeah, great show. I talked about that on the Bitcoin Amigos show on Friday. And the point I made was that, you know, the billionaire in Landman, like the owner of the oil company, they were talking about him becoming a millionaire. And they said that he became a millionaire by going all in on black. And, you know, in roulette, black and red, you go all in. But they were referring to the oil business, because the oil business historically and will continue in the future has a lot of upwards, a lot of downwards, a lot of volatility, a lot of booms, a lot of busts. And so it's very difficult to make it out of there alive, and very similar to Bitcoin. But they said he became a billionaire because he went all in on black, all in on oil, all in on whatever you're doing. And if you want to remain average for the rest of your life, then keep going to work, keep like a job, keep diversifying your investments, and you'll be just like everybody else. But if you want to make a dent in life, if you want to do things a little bit differently and really set yourself up and your family up for generations to come, you have to go all in. And there's no better asset to be going all in on than Bitcoin. It's just insane how asymmetric the trade is. What's up to the Canadian dollar? They say it's tanking. Actually, it shot up today because there's talks of Trudeau resigning. So the Canadian dollar, I mean, yesterday was at an all-time low, yes. But today, I think it shot up. Oh, this is a good question from Dylan. What approach would you recommend to a small business wanting to start accepting Bitcoin but lack knowledge in the space? Lightning Network on a mobile app, then move into self-custody? Yeah, that's probably the easiest thing, honestly, is just get yourself a Lightning wallet that has like a Lightning URL. And you don't have to overthink it at all. Like people get really intimidated by this kind of stuff, but like you can set up a Coinos account, you can set up a Speed wallet, you can do Wallet of Satoshi. I would prefer one of the first two because you can actually customize your own username. So if you download Wallet of Satoshi, they actually provide you with a Lightning address. With Speed Wallet and with Coinos, you can actually set your own username. So it could be like Dylan or your business name at Coinos or at speed.app. And then, yeah, you just send them an invoice. I mean, first of all, you have to have customers that want to pay in Bitcoin, obviously. knggolf went through about 2 years before somebody actually paid in Bitcoin after we promoted it. But since then, we've accepted Bitcoin for quite a few sales. So you just need a Lightning URL. You can send them either an invoice or just say, pay this amount of sats to this Lightning URL. Don't overthink it. That's what I'd say. Just don't have any sort of expectations and don't overthink it. Really? I thought that there was a discount or a lower fee, but maybe I was looking at something else. Anyways. Whoa. This is breaking news. You think that this would be, I would be more excited about this. But again, I'm not going to be satisfied until these people pay for what they've done to us. I don't care if he resigns. He should be in prison, in the worst possible prison cell imaginable. Plus, that's the minimum. That's where we should start the conversation. Trudeau, Biden, Kamala, Elizabeth Warren, all these people need to pay for what they've done. But anyways, I guess it's a good start. BTC Pay Server would be kind of like your next step. You'd be running your own node, essentially. You have your own account, but it is a little bit more work, I think. Yeah, it makes no sense. And this is kind of what it's been for the last year here, honestly, is that I think he had a 20% approval rating and he's still been running the country for 9 years. Like, it's an absolute fucking joke. Beyond. It's laughable at this point. But anyways, let's end the show on a high note here. What can we do? Because you got me depressed now thinking about Trudeau. All right. I don't know. Let's listen to the other song here from the Bitcoin Amigos soundtrack that just came out. The Rock. I love the song. Makes me smile. And that's all you can ask for in life. So before we wrap up here, we got a meeting in 6 minutes from now. So we've been having quite a few meetings, actually, and I would encourage anybody out there who wants to. We talked about security today. We talked about getting ready for what's coming here. And in the last couple of weeks, we've done probably a dozen meetings now with people within the community and outside of the community for people who are interested in learning about SuperBacked, the security and the inheritance stuff. So again, it's easy to buy Bitcoin. It's harder to store it. It's even harder to protect it for years, but you also have to figure out what you're going to do with your Bitcoin after you're gone. And so this SuperBacked protocol that we're working on here is, I would say, as close to bulletproof as you can get. And we have been busy every day for the last couple of weeks. We've had meetings with people, helping them get set up with SuperBacked. And so if you are interested in just learning more, you can just set up like a 20-30 minute call with Craig and I, and we'll walk you through it, see if it makes sense for you, tell you the next steps, and give you some options for how to proceed with it. So with that, I'm going to wrap things up here right now. Thank you, everybody, for the zaps. This was a very hot Monday morning in Zapland. And if you want to send one on the way out, you can shoot it to the QR code, or I'll put the address on the screen here for everybody. So thanks. Interesting to see what happens today. January 6th, we got Trudeau apparently resigning. I never thought that would happen. So that honestly scares me because there must be something else in the works right now. But I don't know. We'll see. I think we've just kind of gotten used to things being bad, but maybe we should just change our perspective to be, maybe things are changing. Maybe we've gone through enough shit here, and it's our time for things to happen for us, not to us. So with that, I hope you all have an amazing day today, an amazing Monday. Hopefully everything goes okay in DC, and we'll see you right back here first thing tomorrow morning. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon. This is Bangin' Friday shows. These there's 6 songs now on YouTube with the lyrics. All these songs are on Wavelake and on Spotify. So we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Friday, let's go. Friday, let's go. If you know, you know. The amigos about to flow. Jerry legendary, Joe for the score. Chris never miss, got 'em begging for more. Banging Friday shows, Bitcoin amigos. Banging Friday shows, Bitcoin amigos. Oh yeah, feeling the love. Vibe fits like a glove. Friday, let's go. Friday, let's go. If you know, you know. The amigos about to flow. Jerry legendary, Joe for the score. Chris never miss, got 'em begging for more. Banging Friday shows, Bitcoin amigos. Banging Friday shows, Bitcoin amigos. Oh yeah. Feeling the love, vibe fits like a glove. Friday, let's go. Friday, let's go. If you know, you know. The amigos about to flow. Jerry legendary, Joe for the score. Chris never miss, got 'em begging for more. Banging Friday shows, Bitcoin amigos. Banging Friday shows, Bitcoin amigos. Oh yes, oh yeah.